Committee of the whole meeting for June 13th to order. First order of business, the agenda. Are there any additions or deletions?
No, but just with the change of switching the order of the delegations to have health communities first, I would move to adopt the agenda.
Thank you. All in favor? That is carried. So, first of all, I guess I'd like first of all, Milroy from Health Communities and also Carol Ripple, very big part of it. So, really happy to see you and meet you in person here. I've talked to you a little bit on Zoom and some of the other counselors as well. So, I'll turn it right over to you.
Introduce you. Rural communities in Alberta have the capacity to build places and spaces that support optimal health. Beverly Milroy, health promoting facilitator with AHS, will provide an overview and key learnings of the Thorsby Healthy Communities initiative that took place from 2009 to 2023, collaborating on projects that enhance community assets and lead to positive, lasting changes. Welcome, Beverly.
Thank you. Okay. I'm going to just hand these guys over, if you don't mind. This is just a quick little overview.
No,
I just remember you're waiting more.
You? Yes, sir. I should have done this before now. You guys want to share?
Go ahead, what's your concern?
And then I'll just down the trip. Okay, so we can go to the next slide. So thank you guys so much for having me. As Carol said, we've worked together since 2019 when we started the Healthy Communities Initiative. I'm from Alberta Health Services. I'm part of the Cancer Prevention Legacy Fund. That's what we used to be called in our work, Cancer Prevention Screening Innovation. So we're under the lens of cancer prevention, and we were offering some grant funds, which essentially were seed funds to communities, rural communities across Alberta, to build places and specific health. So these are just some of the grant funders that took part in this initiative with Thorsby. So I work with Thorsby, and I also work in the Millet, and I'm currently in New Directa as well. So I'm Edmonton-based and was working with communities across this zone. So what we do is we're trying to implement the Alberta Health and Community approach in rural communities, which essentially is a community development process with 5 steps, which we need to engage and create connections with community members. We want to really understand the context of communities by doing assessments. I don't know anything about Thorsby. I had no idea anything about Thorsby. So when I came in, I was doing a lot of assessments with them just to get to know what's going on here, the population, what people's priorities and needs were. Then we worked on then we worked at making an action plan. So we had lots of discussions about what we wanted to do. Then typically communities implement activities, which I'll talk about in a second. We do a lot of evaluation. It is a participatory research project. There's a lot of people involved behind the scenes because we are collecting data and we're creating toolkits for other communities to use, for example, in creating gathering spaces and the benefits and the healthy impact on communities. There's 5 foundational approaches there, which is essential to community development, which is engaging community members, multi-sectoral collaboration, so we're not just asking one person, we're really asking lots of people. Asset-based community development, if you've heard that before, that's looking at strengths rather than gaps. Political commitment is one of the reasons why I'm here today, just not that I'm asking for any political commitment, but it's important to have leadership involved. And then, of course, healthy public policy, so making some positive changes there. So when I started with Thorsby, we sat down and had a lot of discussions about what we wanted to do, and we had some goals and objectives. So we wanted to engage the community in health and wellness activities. We wanted to ensure the collective voice of the community was heard, so we did a lot of engagement activities, asking what do people want to see, what would be beneficial, use the trails, if we were to create something, would you guys participate in that kind of stuff. And the other idea is to work collaboratively with partners that are available here. So we are not a program that comes in, Alberta Health Services popping in and just saying, okay, this is what we're going to do. Although it was a cancer prevention lens, we gave opportunities for the communities across Alberta to do what they felt was necessary to improve their community. And that's the whole point of this approach. And so we wanted to promote healthy choices as well. So and again, with cancer prevention and alcohol reduction and shade structures, getting people more physically active, smoking signs at the park, those kind of things. Okay. So at the very beginning, we had Carol and Sherry and Nathan Raymond and Barry and Kristen, and now we have Donna, and Shelley Rash also has been involved, and I meeting from the very beginning. So now we've had, in 2019, we met for the first time, and we started completing all these assessments, and then the pandemic happened. And that was unexpected. We were not foreseeing that, and that created a lot of challenges in communities, but it also really pushed some communities forward. So some just stopped and they needed to reprioritize and people have to take care of their families and all that. And other communities really pushed through with some of the action plans that they had. So we were lucky because there was a lot of momentum that wanted to happen. And we didn't want to just stop. So I unfortunately was redeployed for some time. I was doing COVID contact tracing and calling people and saying that they had to isolate for 14 days. It was not fun. And some of the activities kind of went forward, which was great because I was getting updates. Nathan was sending me updates, we were sending me updates, Barry was sending me updates. So I was in touch, but not totally involved. Next slide, please. So when we started figuring out what we wanted to do, collectively the group decided to divide the dollars that we had. So we had $20 or $20,000 to contribute to the community, and we had the Taylor Park project and also the trail enhancements were 2 areas that we really wanted to focus on. So we know that we had the space across the way that was available. We had some committee that had previously met, so we had some momentum and interest already happening. The trail enhancements as well, we felt like we wanted to enhance some assets, some local assets. So we were able to divide the money up in half. Gathering places are really important for social connectedness, for improving mental health. Being physically active, of course, is good for your health as well, and mental health became a priority across Alberta when COVID happened because so many people were isolated. And so that became a kind of a newer priority. And then we're doing a lot of investigation on how communities can impact mental health right now, since that's actually not one of our risk factor. But now we see that mental health is a risk factor for people for cancer prevention as well. So we're exploring that. Next slide. So originally the Taylor Park project was happening. Again, we had a committee involved. There was a lot of people at the committee that wanted to move forward with this. We wanted to create a gathering place. There was a location available. There was also the fundraising and planning committee. Carol shared some of the plans that they had. Next slide. The benefits, again, of green spaces and communities can promote mental and physical health. They provide opportunities to get out there and socialize. In Millet, it was actually fun. We were working out there, and they created, I don't know if you've heard of them, but they're called distancing diamonds. So one of the members had this space created in her backyard, and they were sitting one day and realizing that each of the corners of this diamond that they had created in their backyard was 6 feet apart, which was the distance we were supposed to be apart from each other during COVID. So they started getting funds or the money that we were able to contribute right for it, and they created 3 distancing diamonds at parks. And they became like a legacy piece of COVID. And so, these places that people can go and gather safely and feel comfortable, and it all impacts the sense of belonging. Yeah. We did a lot of community engagement. I would also add that there was a lot of challenges over with the COVID pandemic and not being here physically and not being able to participate. And, there was, as you guys know, there was one of your millionaire. Yeah, we lost one of the leaders at the time. Then there was a transition to a new leader. There were some barriers around that, maybe some roadblocks. People wanted to keep things in check, and, we had to review contracts and things like that. Also, when initiatives kind of move forward with leadership, sometimes some pieces get missed. The idea is that we're really sitting down every month and making decisions all together, and that didn't always happen, and that's okay. I mean, in the end, the team created places that are going to impact the community, but at the same time, there was a lot of challenges, and there was some conflict, and this is messy work. Community development, it's not easy. There's a lot of players, there's a lot of people that want different things, and I assure you that the team kept me on my toes. I was often calling, what's going on, and who's doing what, and all this kind of stuff, but, it is what it is, and we're happy that we had so many people involved. So, like an example of what happened there was some, a vision of a mural, and then a mural was created, and they did ask for community impact. And I don't know if we ever got to feedback from the community on the final result. So again, things aren't always perfect. That also the Taylor Park, people contributed design ideas and supplies and time. And then again, I don't know if I'm sure you guys all know this, but there was tanks found under the dirt, and that stalled things as well. So there was a lot of challenges. But these are just some images of coming together. So one of the things I was asking the team always to do was send me pictures, and this is why we could share. So the gazebo was donated from our spas, and there was trees planted, flowers. Lots of work. The second project, we wanted to enhance the network of trails, and we know that that's really important asset in the community, and that they were kind of hidden, and people were recognizing that we could work on them so that people would get out there, and especially with COVID and being outdoors is so important. So the trail development, really creating healthy life choices for families, and a legacy that can be easy to maintain once they're widened and all that. So we worked on that as well. The benefits, again, trail development creates healthy life choices. Accessible trails create opportunities for families of all abilities to engage in it for the population. So they also did trail development surveys. So again, we asked communities, like, do you use the trail, what would you like to see, what's important to you. Someone wrote, we love the trails, thank you so much everyone that takes the time and energy to build and repair and maintain them. So we knew that it was something that people wanted to see and have. Another important community development piece is engaging youth. So Barry sent me some pictures of these pictures of benches that were purchased with the grant dollars, and then he got some of the, I think it was a football team. Baseball thing that got together and put those benches, and that all is great for them if they're ever going for a walk on the trail. They can say, "I built that bench," and that just provides some. I won't show you this video. This one is just a drone footage. So Barry had one of it was a German student, exchange student that was in town, and he had a drone footage. So Barry asked him, and we gave him a little bit of a tip for doing this, but it's actually quite good, and I can send you this.
I think it's on our, is it on our website or?
I think they were showed us here.
Yes.
Before as well.
Yeah. So it was, again, an opportunity for a student to be able to use his skills and his assets to create something that would benefit. I know that Barry wanted accessibility. He was really focused on that. So, people that can't use the trails or want to see watching videos. So I went for a walk. Shelley and Carol and Barry took that picture in November. So we took me for a walk. So we were able to do more trail signage and all that kind of stuff. Then Carol was trained as a rural mental health animator through the Canadian Mental Health Association. They created some tips on, how to impact your mental health. We did it's super simple, but we got the students to create little artwork that we placed in all these storyboards along the trails, which are really lovely to see when we go for a walk and see all these positive messages sent by kids. And again, kids can see that it's contributed to this space, which is really nice. Part of the project is doing the pre and post tools. So this is just a snapshot. This is called the community capacity assessment tool. And on the left-hand side, there's 11 domains. So the shared vision, sense of community, communication, resource, knowledge development. That one, learning from experience, participation, asking why, community leadership, partnership, linkages, and networks, and then sustainability. And if you look, the yellow is the pre, and the green is the post. The greeny blue is the post. And the idea here is that we wanted to, at the very beginning, we did like a baseline of where we felt we were at. So does our community have a shared vision? And they scored kind of low. And then over the 3 years, we collectively worked together on creating that shared vision of a healthy community. And at the very end, they scored a 4.4, which is nice to see. So again, it's not a perfect assessment, but it is a snapshot of some of the growth and the efforts that were made. So we were really happy to see the results. This is another video that was done. I'm sure Barry has shown this as well. The next video, though, we could watch. I'll just explain this quickly. I hope it goes right away. But with Alberta Health Services, there's a gentleman called Mike Lang. He is a visual story expert. He creates patient stories to explain, like a child that's going through cancer, they'll do like a little 4-minute video. And the intent behind it is to do service improvement. So they'll show doctors and other people that are going through the same thing, like what that might look like. We were able to ask Mike to help us make about 12 videos. And so we worked with about 24 communities across Alberta. And Barry offered to do one. So this is a 3-minute video of from Barry's perspective of our work on the trail.
No, because it's a PDF.
Oh, that's fine. I can send it after. I did send the PowerPoint that it was like 35. Yeah. It's been under. Oh, okay, that's fine. So I'll send that after. But it's really nice, and what we've done is we posted in our Healthy Communities Hub, which is public, along with the other 12 stories. And the intent is to kind of share the process, share what communities have done. Like we were one of the only ones that did trail enhancement. This one does not talk about trail at all. It's only about Barry's kind of vision and how he helped make it happen, how the community members contributed. It's just really short, and kind of shares the success, which is part of this work. The one pager that I sent, that I've given you here, is just a little snapshot again of what I just told you about. It's just for you guys to keep. And I really the reason why I wanted to come today is to celebrate all the success of this community that has happened in general, and to welcome me in, and just to thank the Thorsby town also, because you acted as a fiscal agent for us. And so there was a lot of, there was some work that was done, and budgets and finances and challenges and conflict resolution and conversations that happened. And I just really, really appreciate you guys taking part in this initiative. And when you have opportunities to do more in the future, I would really encourage you to do it, because I think all these little pockets of funds, although they're small, I think they do have impact. And even if not all the world is happy with that one decision, there is a sense of belonging that happens when people work together on the shared vision. So I really appreciate it. Donna, you stepped up quite quickly and learned it all really fast. And I came out a couple times to chat with you, so I really appreciate it. So this is just a thank you, with just a little reward that we're presenting. Thank you, guys. And that's it. That's all I have for you. Yeah.
Thank you for all the work. Without you, it'd be a little tough for sure.
No.
Appreciate the work and all of this.
Yeah. It was super fun. It was super fun to work with this team.
I hope we can work with you again.
Yeah. Yeah. I am gonna run off though, so
Stay fried.
Yes, thank you guys. I don't mean to leave so fast, but thank you guys for listening, and thank you for letting me go. Okay, thank you.
See you soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Does anybody have any other questions on that?
I could, Deb being very modest, she was excellent to work with, because we jumped in 3/4 of the way through most of this stuff, Sydney and I, so we were helping her sort things out, and what about this, what are we doing about that, and talk to Carol, of course, too, and we had to learn the community pretty quick to then support the initiatives, right, that were happening, so it was very good to work with, and I think, she's amazing, and rural mental health is important. It's often overlooked. It's not part of social community development for the most part. A lot of times, municipalities don't develop their service levels to support social development. We just think of social development is about just housing or something, right? Or something easy. A lot of social development is about healthy people and about how they're demonstrating health in the community and about thinking outside the box. And Thorsby's sitting on a really good place to be able to do this, because you're bringing in the lake and you have lots of tourism and so forth. And we're very lucky to have Carol as a trained animator, rural health animator, and to do this. And with Carol's next grant that she's successfully received, there'll be more good things to come in the fall. So it's a unique social development tool, one that doesn't usually focus on mental health in a more holistic way, as opposed to a word I want to use, a medical way. I'll say it that way.
All right, thanks for that. Anybody have any other comments? Not the motion to recommend that for information? All in favor? Okay. And then we'll move on to the next one, the Leduc Regional Housing Foundation delegation. Thank you very much. That's a very long report you have there, I think.
Well, I'm not going to go through that with you.
Okay.
No, good, I'm glad you're ready. I'm Margot Hegarty.
Sorry, Margot.
And thank you for having me here this evening. So I'm just coming out, just wanting to hit all the municipalities and meet with our council again, and just give a little bit of an update of what goes on with the Regional Housing Foundation, and also that we've got this needs assessment completed and sharing it with all the municipalities. So one of the things that, some of the things that we've done over the last year is, and as you all know, we have a region, we have 7 municipalities, or one of them that we work with, I guess, on the council court.
Yeah, I would call worse than just Corey.
And so we have an amazing organization. We're actually 60 years this year, 1963.
but it's only made me because of the attitude that we have among all the municipalities that make this happen. And I have been with the organization just shy of 3 years now, and it's been an absolute pleasure being here and being a part of it and being able to be in that leadership role and work so closely with the board to the strategic plan and direction from the board come to fruition. And so this last year, one of the things that we focused on was we knew that we have to develop more housing. But just knowing that, and so that's what we went out and said, okay, let's get a really good concrete needs assessment completed, something that will project for the next 5 to 10 years. Let's make sure, instead of just using the two statistics, let's go out and have those conversations with the municipalities, with the people. Let's make sure it's not just statistics, so that we have something that's really grounded, that we can then share and say, we do know this is what we have now, this is what's projecting in the next 5 to 10 years. And so that we can kind of go, okay, how do we deal with this and what do we need to do? And, this isn't a local problem, this is a national problem. Most people are aware, you hear about affordable housing all the time now, and you hear it on every mandate, every government, all 3 levels of government. And so what had happened is that we didn't develop housing for a number of years. Now we've got I would say. And so these are the realities that we're dealing with now today. So we got the needs assessment completed, and it confirmed, what we thought it was, but we have some real numbers. We met with the board of directors. We met to go over our strategic plan in February, at which time we looked at a variety of things. We really focused on municipal requisition, which each of the municipalities, based on the last assessment, contribute to the municipal requisition of the sort of living program, which is claimed to
like other taxes, like that seniors requisition amount, it's like underneath the education amount, that's the specific value on the tax profile.
Yes. Tax assessment, however $6 or $2, whatever it might be. And I'm not sure, it's different for everybody, depends on the property you have and how you belong to. So that's the municipal requisition, and one of the things I wanted to do is show the board what we're dealing with. And we've had the luxury, as I said, we've been in operation for 60 years. We've owned Plainview Lodge for a long time. There's no mortgage on Plainview Lodge. It started in 1963. So we didn't have to pay big mortgages. So our municipal requisitions didn't grow a lot, like other management bodies did. And I wanted to share with the board at that time, and we had a really good session about what does that mean and what should it mean. And what we did, we looked at every management body throughout the province. We looked at the averages. And the average management body pays $8,600 per unit per year, and for the supportive living program. In our region, we pay $2,900. So we're really far behind. That's not right or wrong. That's our reality. And it's easy to understand how that happened. Why did what happened? Because we didn't have these big mortgages, and we always had the title. The challenge of the space, of course, is that we were heating rooms that were. So I'm going to talk about that in a minute. So what I want to do is just go some high-level things that come out of this report and let it show you some statistics. The projection is there will be 8,000 new builds in the next 10 years required in the Leduc region. Out of those 8,000 builds, 12% of the households will not be able to afford it. We say core housing needs, and when we talk about core housing needs, what we mean is you're paying more than 30% of your rent or mortgage of your income. And what we're finding is that there's large numbers of people that, especially in the rural areas, that are not what we call appropriate housing. Their core housing needs are not living that. So they're living in 3 or 4 bedroom houses, and maybe one person. So they've got big utilities for you. They're paying more than they want to. So you don't really have what they need, which is a smaller unit that's a lot more affordable. And so those individuals are actually paying more than that 30%. So those are the statistics that we need for board and associates when they're evaluating this. The other factor that comes into play, which I know is not a surprise to anyone in this room, is that in the rural areas, of course, we're always facing that we don't have the same services. And so people are moving away from it. It's heartbreaking to watch it happen. I look out at Warburg and Coburg, and that's one of the nicest places anybody could ever live in. It's the most peaceful, lovely, sort of living. have those transportation, and the medical services. And so those are the challenges. So those are just some high-level numbers. What I can tell you is we look at Plainview, we look at Cloverleaf, we know that we have vacancies there because we don't have medical services. What are the cities that do? We have some vacancies. We have 11 vacancies out of 121 units right now. So we have 12 people on the wait list. We also know that what's happening statistically, if you start looking into drill down into the report, you can see it Thorsby, your population dropped a bit. Each category has dropped except for one category, the 65 plus. And so it's the aging demographic that we're dealing with right now. And so we know that we've got a challenge ahead of us because we've got Plainview Lodge that the vacancies that there's people on the wait list, but they're on the wait list for the larger rooms. They're on the wait list for the ones that are a lot more conducive to what people want to live in. The 1963 buildings are very small rooms. The wiring is still 1963. You can't plug in an air conditioner and put up the room. You know, 5-10 years ago, we didn't have a plug-in. You know, you might have 10 really hot nights that are kind of unbearable. Look at what we're dealing with right now in June. How many hot nights have we had? Those poor people are sweltering off, and that's not healthy. And that's the reality that we're dealing with. So one of the things that we will be doing, and some of the work that we've been doing, so since we do the strategic planning and the work with great discussion, we then went into a municipal conversation, which we had in the planning. And the municipal conversation, we invite anyone that would like to come and join us. And at those, we had different questions and subjects to talk about, but we tried municipal recognition as one of the table and talked more about that. The people started to recognize, okay, I get it now, you know, because nobody wants the tax base. I mean, I can sit here, but we didn't use the recognition increase. You guys are looking at it. We can't do that. We don't have the money. We can't do that. But then we have to start recognizing what can we do? Is it okay if we have our students living in a situation where they're in a lodge where they can't even have air conditioning because it's 1962? And what I always say is the same challenges that we have here in the region, also within other foundations, other groups, just like that. They're facing exactly the same decisions. It's tough. So we have to figure out how do we do this. So then what we started to do for the first time is we started to do some fundraising. Instead of always looking at the tax base, the fundraising, let's do some fundraising. We had our very first Regional Housing Foundation breakfast fundraiser on May 18th, and it was wonderful. And when you first start, and we have a video that we actually do a little bit of them and send it to you on it, because it's well worth looking at. Corey, I don't know if you've had a chance to see it, you know, it's available for us. And so it really, because a lot of people automatically seniors or they have a perception of what we do. And this video really captures, be prepared, it's 6 minutes and I think about 50 seconds long. And anyone that shows emotional quick will find themselves with tears by the end of this video. So I will send it to you. And please, you know, feel free to share it. You know, we're going to be sending this out. And it really captures what we do because it's not just seniors. It's that video starts off with a gentleman that, you know, he was looking for a mask with the vehicle, you know, you know, he was, I remember he had a baby on the way and he had 2 children at the time. His whole life was ruined, you know, and what we do for him and whatnot. So these kind of little stories are in there, so it gives an idea of who we are and what we do. Because we don't only do the Plainview and the Cloverleaf. We also have many affordable housing that we own, and we try to keep the rent well below the market rent. Right now, our rents are about 20% below market. We also do a senior self-contained program, which is a government program. We also do a family deep subsidized, which is a live for garden, which is really $120 a month for a family of 4. They're beautiful to get up and get going. And the success stories that we have from there, 45% of the people that live in that community, with 64 town members, are actually either going to school or are working. But they're making their own wage. And they're trying to see someone to make So this is who we're trying to help. And then we have the rent supplement program, which is we offer up to $450 a month to households to help people. We have all these different programs. It's pretty exciting what we offer and what we do. As well as the need is crazy. believe it. We have just shy of $1.5 million that we give out each year now for the Red Supplement Program. And they gave us almost $20,000 starting in January to up that. I thought that would affect our wait list. Our wait list is growing 6-7% every month. We're sitting here with over 160 people on our wait list for what we're doing. That's how big it's going to be. It's not business, but we're just going to keep going. We're going to keep doing everything we can. Right now, we have, we're down to the crunch. We have a project that we have sitting here. We've got $2 million granted to us by the provincial government. The municipalities work together and took in $500,000. The Individual Housing Foundation put in $650,000. And we're waiting to hear for the federal government, the application by the end of June, so we'll know. And if we get it, we'll be able to build 24 units in and that will be up and operating next year. So we're moving, and we're always doing things. And the next step for us is our board of directors is going to do a workshop, a 5-hour workshop at the end of August. And then you all know before, like, fully know it's August 29th.
I already checked with the doodle thing. There's a couple different dates.
That's right. And so on August 29th, we're doing a 5-hour workshop where the board of directors will actually work with myself and a consultant and we'll decide how is this going to work, what kind of an infrastructure model do we need for redeveloping Cambridge, and what kind of a funding model, because there's different ways of doing it. And hopefully we can find a way with a vision and a plan and start working towards it. Now, these things don't happen overnight. I mean, it can take 3 to 5 years to do the kind of thing that we're working on. Get me going, and we'll shut up. I'm very passionate about what we do. So that's a quick snapshot, and it is worth. It's an easy read. This document is very easy to read, very well done, and you can get it, and you can drill down on it. Questions?
Thank you. Yeah, does anybody have any questions? Yes.
I was really fortunate when I was able to develop the Rimby Lodge.
Oh, did you? Oh, okay.
And we put some pretty innovative stuff in there, like the bigger rooms. In fact, my mom's in there now. We can put her in. And we made the bigger rooms. Everybody has a window you can open. The mezzanine, the second floor is open. The downstairs dining room is open. Lots of patio space outside, gazebo space, green space, and a storm pond that was quite controversial, but it's proving to be good. And I think if we can make the housing either more like home,
Yes.
the rooms more like home. I know in Rimby we have walk-in closets, all the shelvings in there, and all those kinds of things. And I also think maybe that there's a lot of information coming out of Europe about tiny homes in a co-op community. So they have maybe 700-800 square feet, and they can live. You know, we could look at maybe some land use stuff eventually that may hold a tiny home co-op so that folks can live there, and then even seniors can move in and can maintain. So there's lots of innovative ideas coming out of Europe, so that we don't get into the high tower.
Not what we
stuff.
want.
No.
We need to meet the needs of other people more, not what we think they need.
What's easier for us, right?
That's right. And the biggest thing is choice. And which one of us doesn't want to have choice? Like, instead of having to go for all your meals in the dining room, which is much good for the living room, which was beautiful for you, because maybe being able to have toast and coffee in the morning and going to do that.
We've done really good work. Yep.
So you have choices, and that's what we have to
Yeah. Not everybody wants to come down for breakfast. No. I need to get woken up when I'm 107, finally moving in there.
High expectations.
I was going to say, I don't know if they make 107.
I'm going to make 100. I'll still be here working.
Good for you.
So yeah, I think it's awesome, and I think that working out by the box. But I think we have to look at our partners, creative ideas, and looking to our partners in Europe, because a lot of times they're 10, 15 years ahead of us. Even in mental health supported living and handicap supported living, they're way ahead of us. They've got some very creative ideas.
Well, another thing too is we totally just do seniors. We've already approached that. Like, why would we just make it about seniors? You know, whatever we develop and we develop that units, why wouldn't we do some mixed income? Because we have some people that are paying a regular rate, and people that are paying a
As you say, on that note, you know, the tiny homes and modular structures and all that, a lot of that is, our building codes and stuff have been lagging quite a ways behind, but they are almost caught up at this point where, something less of a burden, meeting the rules, the rules are caught up to the reality almost. Yes, where it doesn't quite meet the wording, it needs the intent, but not the wording of the code sometimes.
And then when you're dealing with the nonprofit component, you're like, oh, because that red tape costs money.
Yes.
Even some of our land use bylaws, if we're bringing amendments over the summer and the fall, change a lot of the wording to reflect some of this for council consideration in Thorsby. So we're going to be working harder this summer to get that ready for council in the fall. So we're a rural urban interface. And typically don't want apartment buildings in a rural urban interface municipality. You want vistas.
Yeah,
So
that's
people
right,
could
that's
see.
right.
And so we,
All right. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate you coming and, keep it up. It's a good work. So we get a motion, to recommend the,
To accept for information.
sorry, all in favor? Carried. All right, 3.3, Thorsby Archery Competitor Sponsorship. So we have a letter. Yeah, thank you. We have a letter, I don't, does anybody know Stephen and Ben Amelia?
I know their parents, I don't know them, I know their parents.
They've been here for quite a while.
Yeah, the kind of the greenhouse, is it,
I don't know.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, I mean, it's quite a
Just
compliment.
right across the track, it's like literally directly across the tracks from here, there's a greenhouse right on the back.
Okay. Yeah. Quite an accomplishment. Don, if you want to make any comments on this here?
well,
From Canada.
we brought this to council for your consideration. A couple things, like they're highly accomplished for one, and they're from Thorsby for another. And we have quite a few very cool athletes, and you know, in the hockey world and so on and so forth with Thorsby. And it's for council's consideration, but we thought we just did nothing else bring knowledge that they're going, and see if council would consider out of the community fund providing some level. We haven't set a monetary amount for it. I mean, we know the two grants are 250 and 500, but council can also set some other notice for them, or council decides that this isn't right. Administration can contact them and see what we could do for sponsorship that maybe would be something other than money. You know, maybe there's something that from us, something that we can provide.
Yeah, like I'm not like opposed necessarily, but out of the community grant, this doesn't really meet the.
No, it doesn't.
This really doesn't meet the requirements, I guess, my concern, where
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say opposed, if there's some way we could try to help them, it really doesn't meet the requirements of what we're talking about.
It doesn't. That's why we brought it, just for your consideration. No, it does not meet the criteria.
Which, I mean, you send the rules once, and then, I mean, now there's no more rules, I hate to go down that road.
No. So we kind of thought, maybe, Councilor Curry, you raised a great question about if we put our heads together, maybe council has some thoughts about how we could support them or provide them with stuff or whatever we need. Maybe, I don't know what that would look like. I haven't given it a ton of thought. You know, it can't hurt, something our administration can. But interested to throw some thoughts around maybe at this table and see what council thinks we're going to be able to do.
A little showcase, Thorsby in the Article 1.
Yeah.
Going to do really well.
Provided them with a little bit of swag, like, so they can wear, like, if they're, and I don't mean a ton, but I mean if they had.
Sure, I mean, that seems doable, just sort of
Sure.
promotional budgeting stuff, but I mean, I'm sure there's a few different private individuals and or companies around that, you know, people could talk to that might be inclined to make small private donations. I mean, it really just, I guess it just doesn't meet the requirements. I don't want to send the rules, but surely we can kind of hopefully put it in front of some people's eyes that might be better suited to help them, I guess, is my
I
thought.
think so. It'd be nice where Thorsby shirts or something, right, when they're in between the matches or whatever.
I think that's exactly right. If we could just kind of beat the bush around here ourselves. I know that, I'm gonna talk to sit there at the family, at the neighbor's restaurant, because, following our, supper there with the county, he said that he'd like to do something for the community. He said he'd like to donate, $2 a pizza for some worthwhile thing, and I think this is perfect. So
Yeah, I think it's a worthwhile thing,
Yeah, so I'm gonna approach him and see if he'll do it.
If council may have any thoughts or suggestions thrown my way,
Yeah.
happy to do it. We want to put the letter in front of you so that you need, so we're happy to ship them off with some Thorsby stuff so they look very good in their blues and greens.
I can't remember, was there like a date they're kind of shooting for?
The tournament's July 26th.
Or like,
Yeah,
yes,
fairly soon.
their financing order.
I was gonna say, if we could offer some sort of a fundraiser, whether it's hot dogs off the front step or something, for a few hours. Try to generate a few dollars.
Is as the Chamber of Commerce, did they approach the Chamber of Commerce at all?
We have a meeting on Thursday, so possibly, yeah.
You could bring it up to that and talk to them, maybe they might want to do something.
Our company can help sponsor a little bit. We're proud to do
So,
that.
like I say, I know in the past, the Chamber, like, years and years and years and years and years ago, we, Thorsby won the, Alberta Provincial for baseball, and we, a lot of the, they gave us money to go to, back to the family teams.
Well, it's a pizza idea, maybe if we spoke to Esso or another business, slushies.
We just take it upon ourselves to do whatever we can, it's a great thing.
Yeah. If you, whatever I need to come up with, we can coordinate it through my office, and, we'll see what we can do.
Thanks for that, so I guess a motion to accept that for information. Favor? All right, okay, council reports, so, Donna, like these, none of these showed up here, like it just.
They were attached, but for some reason they didn't show up seriously. I looked when I sent, and they were there.
Well, we can, if everybody's okay with it, we'll just get ready to give a quick report, and I can start with mine very quickly if you want. So, for May, I attended the Gordon Danford concert on May the 6th. We raised $44,316 for the complex. Kudos to everybody that was involved in there, and then we had our town meeting, our special meeting, May 20th, we had the parade, rode in nice vehicles from Devin Chrysler and Councilor Asher Musson along with me, and then
And
I
with
made,
two candy,
pardon me?
with two candy.
Yeah, with two candy. Did you get some candy?
I was gonna say Grayson got candy twice, because he went to watch the parade, and then he came back to the house, and then the parade came by the house again. So, he got candy twice, he thought this was great.
Good deal.
We drove around aimlessly in the.
I was being cautioned not to throw much, but I was throwing as much as I could, because I wasn't losing anything left in the bag, so I got to too much over there, so. Okay, May 20th and 21st, attended the slow pitch tournament. It was very good, 18s. It was very well attended. I believe the Chamber of Commerce made some good friends in the beer gardens. And then on May the 25th, as a guest of ADCO, I was at the ADCO Cup with all my wife, where there was some show jumping. All the mayors were invited from all the communities. Quite an experience. I've never seen that before. Amberley Meadows. It's on the Range Road, about 276 just by Rabbit-Hill. ADCO Cup, ADCO puts it up every year. They have 15 riders, and they do all their jumps, their equestrian jumps out there. Never been to that before in my life, and a lot of the ADCO people were there, and some of the other mayors from the communities were there. It was different. That's all I have on mine. Where are you?
I was not great the last half of the month, so I last half of the month, other than walking into with Grayson over to the parade and looking at that, that's the only thing from the last half of the month, and then the beginning of the month was just our regular meeting there. I was going to mention, I have walked down the trails a couple of times, and there seems to be some sort of spruce fungus or something that seems to be spread. I know there's a few trees that have been cut down, but those stands of dead trees keep growing bigger.
Yeah, we had a budget for, 4,000, we've extended that.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, I just got funny, the last couple of weeks I've been down there a couple of times, and it seems to be very rapidly increasing, so I figured I better point that out. The only real thing that,
Not a problem. We'll cut down or do what we can.
yeah, like I say, it was originally a couple of trees, and now it's a lot of trees, so.
It's crazy, like up that line, I thought two of my first trees are dying,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah,
Enough
there's,
water.
well, it seems like they're in circles or pockets, they are spreading circular, and they're in like pockets, and then they'll be fine, and then, so it seems like it's some sort of fungus or something, I'm assuming, but it
Maybe
seems
pine
bad.
beetle.
They're spruce, they're not pines,
Yeah,
they're
they're not
spruce.
pine, so.
Yeah, like I say, there's 3 or 4 quite big circles of pine trees that are all just dead or may as well be now that are getting quite extensive. So I guess my concern is how far that spreads.
Yeah, and what we might, we're gonna take a look, and we might have to come back to you with council to throw a little more in the budget.
Yeah, it seems it's becoming quite, it's getting quite bad quite quickly, I guess was my concern.
No, you're going to notice. Might be back to you to say hello. Need more tree cutting budget.
Well, see, but,
All right.
I think we still have 1,000.
there was 5,000 in the tree maintenance and replacement, and then 2,500 in trail development and maintenance, so total 7,500.
I guess, yeah, I don't know what it is, but I guess
Yeah.
cutting down, is that just spreading it too, or is there spraying, or I don't know what the solution is, I just know that it's getting bad quickly.
All right. Jason?
Do you want me to read Shelley?
Sure, go ahead.
All right, this is Shelley. So May 9th, she attended Cal meeting, May 13th, special budget meeting, May 16th, SPSS volunteer appreciation debrief, excellent entertainment and turnout, 115 attended. Seniors appreciation lunch was June 2nd. Seniors transportation subsidy program, Drive Happiness, has been discussed. Discussed emergency preparedness. May 17th, library board, reviewing bylaws and policies, participated in May long weekend parade, sent out, well, this is the library, so sent out jobs for volunteers. T-Rex art exhibit is becoming September 7th to October 4th. New librarian has been hired, starting immediately to get some crossover training. May 23rd, regular council meeting, and then public relations, she worked seniors bingo, and stopped in at the Lord Bamford concert, historic society market, and she was in the parade, volunteered for CIB and 2024 grad, and she watched cornhole. Okay. You want to go next, John?
Sure, mine's pretty short too. For the month of May, I attended the Gord Bamford concert, attended our meetings, and I was voted, didn't have anything else outside of that.
All right, mine's lengthy. May 1st, attended Collegiate Employee meeting. May 6th, volunteered as bar supervisor for the Gord Bamford concert. May 9th was Cal meeting. May 10th, municipal housing regional conversation at Leduc Min that Margot had referred to. The morning consisted of 6 20-minute coffee sessions between different mixes of participants. There was a question at each table for discussion. There are gaps in the system. At present, the need is for 600 accommodations to place those in need. Mental health, financial, as well as having a place to call home is paramount for many, with limited funds available for construction, etc. How to combat this situation was being questioned. Each municipality needs to increase the required funds for contributions. Suggestion. May 11th, Chamber of Commerce meeting, preparations for the May long weekend event, feedback on the successful Gord Bamford concert. May 16th, Seniors Yukon District Food Bank Tour and AGM, a new facility, overwhelming quantities of food collected on a daily basis. The bottom line is to make sure those in need do not wait until the cupboard is bare. If you are in need, ask for assistance. The food bank sent chocolate to our council. May 17th, library meeting. Puppet theater is still in the works. A few programs have been reserved for the fall and next year. The library has not received any applications for library manager position. The library shall participate in the May Long Weekend Parade. May 20th, Thorsby May Long Weekend event. I rode in the parade and handed out candy with council. Volunteered to bartend the beer gardens at the rec complex for the chamber. May 23rd was council meeting. May 25th, public works open house at the water treatment plant. There was a tour, a barbecue, and citizens to chat with. May 25th, I was paymaster at seniors bingo, and May 29th, I planted flowers with Susan Zimmerman.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just a quick question for clarification. Is the new librarian hired in Council Munson?
Yes, I think at the point of at the time of our meeting, there was nobody hired, but after the fact, yes.
Gotcha, thank you.
All right, thank you for that. Questions, anyone?
So the new librarian is Paula Bosky. She was already a part-time employee.
Who is it?
Paula Bosky.
Oh.
She used to be Paula Mayo years ago. She's been Paula Bosky for many years. COSSE. But there's about 4 librarians that work there part-time, but nobody really wanted to have the commitment of being manager. But I think somebody took Paula's arm. And she's been a library clerk before, Thorsby School, and she's been at EA. She's quite qualified, I believe, and has a good idea. Hopefully she'll pass over to the next one.
Yeah. Motion on the council reports for information. City reports, City O'Donnell.
Thank you, Your Worship. Basically, short and sweet this month, we finalized all the CPO interviews, and we made a decision with the CPO that will attend SOGEN, what we call induction training, so that'll go for 6 to 8 weeks. And be ready to roll into Thorsby about probably February. For now, we have CPO Legio that's dealing with a couple of cases with us, and is providing great support. So that's good. We try to do as much as we can. I'm sorry, 3 files. We try to do as much as we can here under the CAO's authority. So we try not to bother them as much, and had a nice meeting with the county manager to update him on water. No action needed there. And of course, we're at the time of the writing here, we're busy with the litigation, and we'll proceed with that. Was on site at the Gord Bamford concert from the time it started till 3:30 a.m. and attended the wrap up, and article asked me to develop a press release to thank everyone who presented the check, and that was completed and within the connect. CFO and I, of course, spent a great deal of time with the spring budget adjustments in preparation for the meeting, and we're still finding some anomalies that have to be mitigated. So we have a clear picture of all monetary instruments and accounting processes, but we received a very good word from the auditors and a good check mark, so it's worth all the time spent. We've met with the churches, and we'll meet later in June to go over the cemetery bylaw, which in its current state may not be appropriate for Thorsby because all the churches have their own bylaws. So we'll look at committing up the schedules, and we will discuss with them about the mowing requirements for this year with their contractor. MC the senior luncheon, 99 seniors in attendance, a lot of fun actually. Had a great time, and lots of meetings with residents, inquiries from vendors, and development permits and so forth, which is awesome. And then of course, water, we're working on soft budget for the startup costs with the Melbourne State federal grant, and lots of research and liaison with First Nations. Enoch has asked our engineers to meet with their engineers, so that's pretty cool. And I now have an into Sampson with the chief, so to chat with him. And thanks to Councillor John for attending and providing support and knowledge. Much appreciated.
Thank you. Questions for Donna? Well, we'll jump right to Michaela there, who's sitting back there for patiently.
Good evening. My report is fairly short too. May 2nd, I had the junior pregnancy with a grade 2 class, and we were doing on the CSS, which was a success. May 15th, was the SPSS Advisory Board meeting. May 23rd, had a meeting with Sarah from New Healthy. Recreation, May 6th, volunteer for the Board Banquet, complete volunteer tickets. May 9th, we held a Mother's Day macrame, which was a huge success of 15 hits. May 10th to 12th, I was away at a rec conference in Galway, which was a lot of fun. May 16th, I attended a Zoom meeting following the rec conference. May 20th, I went to May long rec activities, doing village tattoos. Lego Club is slowing down in attendance with the last day coming June 26th. And Mom and Pop is still very busy, roughly 15 kids with 7 to 15.
Thank you. Any questions from Tara? Well, busy over there.
Yeah, it's very busy in rec and SPSS.
Thank you. Public Works and the recreation, do you want to go them or do you want to?
I can just go over Public Works. Andrew would be here tonight, but he did a water main break to which I will go around the council, see how they're doing, see the maximum station. We think we have it isolated right away, and it's going to be easier day because there's no frost, but we'll see when I get there. I'll see how far down we are and what's happening. So we'll give Sydney some Valium before we go, so she stops worrying about the cost. So basically, we have the asbestos abatement report done for the building uptown here, and so they're recommending water abatement, which is good because we're not confident that if they pull the drywall and the ceiling tiles off that building, it will cave in on anybody. So I'm just going to get the structural engineer to just clarify their comments there. And then if it's send it into Alberta Environment under Section 39, and I've been saying about 200 pages to read what the application is. So that's just the way it is. But we'll get that. We've deadline for that building has been set on the website for our pre-submission. A lot of damage signs due to vandalism, and a lot have been replaced. Of course, we started grass cutting, and received parts for the repairs on the cube truck, which is good. It was head gaskets, so Rick is the heavy duty mechanic, going to fix all that, and we'll be able to have that trucking, which is good. We had a really nice barbecue for Public Works Week, and the guys put all the equipment there, and Tracy there, the kids were thrown on the sidewalk, and Water Dave was in his element doing tours, which is really nice. And I think there's about 12 or 14 people adding to it. And lots of bleachers at the Recreation Center concerned, but we've already donated the lumber, and our team is replacing the boards and pulling that apart. And of course, busy grading gravel roads, and we may have enough calcium to gravel to assist with dust control for these without buying any. Andrew's looking at some new technology in regards to gravel crushing for some of the gravel roads that can keep the dust down just by the way it's crushed. So that's the new technology. And Ms. Proby is of course always busy, and she was here. I would certainly congratulate her. She did an incredible job at that rec center that night. It was amazing. Another great long weekend success that she did, and she said it was just nuts there. That's on a long weekend. Kids everywhere, stuff everywhere. The new sidewalk, I was there yesterday, the new sidewalk to the south parking lot in Fort, all the way to the back there, looks really good. And all the patch repairs to that wonderful coating have been done, and they'll be returning in June to clean and reseal the sidewalk. And of course, we're Rally, Matt's always stepping up to the plate, and we don't ask him half the time. We don't. He just pops over to say, what do you need? Which is pretty cool. So he's a great community ambassador. LPH did summer shutdown on our boilers, and of course the field house has been really hot compared to the weather. Filters on the MUA unit were completely plugged, plus the unit was set to maintain a minimum temperature of 74. Now I would like that temperature, but apparently they don't at the rec center. So it's been adjusted for summer temperatures, and made a significant difference. And we're going to Public Works is going to change the filters. Thorsby Kalmar Warburg Crossgate Association created a head association called West 39. Managed hockey in the community going forward, and nice request have already started. So what that means is it gives all our arenas, Kalmar, Warburg, and us, more access and more busyness for hockey. So that's pretty cool. And that is and,
Question on the calcium, so that's just in the ground, are they gonna spray calcium or not calcium, there's no spraying this
but
year?
there's enough,
They will be spraying it later?
there's enough in the
They have
streets
to
now.
scratch it to disturb it, or they'll
Nope,
just leave
they'll
it?
just leave it tacked.
Okay, anybody else have any questions?
Certainly overkill it last year.
I think it's pretty,
Yeah, and part of that was the contract, so the first contract that went through was awesome, rated at 0.2, the second contract was rated at 0.7.
yeah, I mean, it was like, soaked, it was like, yeah.
Running down the gutters.
Yeah, it was-
There's only one street that you didn't overdo on.
That's right, and you were supervising. We did yours, actually, we forgot yours, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, I know you did.
We totally did. We
Just
forgot.
thought I'd mention that, that's all.
Okay, you were properly chastised.
I have to ask because I don't know. Are all the pieces set up at the street?
Yeah.
Ready to go and
Anytime the gates open, we put that.
how does it happen?
I don't know, your people came together and put it together. They don't want to do that.
All right. I didn't know what to do. I had volunteered and I asked if you want to ask.
I don't know, I wouldn't know. Group of wonderful people came put it together and it's there, it's exciting. The shed, I will say that we destroyed the shed, it was so badly damaged that it was crap.
What was gone? When is time we can
Things are gone.
will get used?
Yep. Absolutely, they were full of lots of stuff in there.
Just as a note, I think I told you, there's a water main.
Register, yeah.
But it just came late this afternoon.
Yeah, this afternoon, about 3:30, I think.
Yeah, but I think it was about
3 o'clock, the resident came in?
I don't know, I just heard it from my office and I'm not happy.
Well, dealing with mud is cheaper than dealing with ice, so.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah, I tend to see
Right
about,
behind Argo and that creek goes down to the creek
yeah.
down there.
yeah, I tended to see about 3:15 and we're talking to,
It's a dirt road, it's not,
you don't have to replace paving.
Thank
And
goodness.
it's, like, it's not frozen at least, it'll pass easier, it'll dig easier, and everything about it's easier when it's this weather.
I'll go attend before I go home and I'll send you an update.
you know, that's just happening event right now.
Oh, yeah.
Woohoo!
Always something going on.
All right, then, motion to recommend the, CA reports for information. All in favor? CFR reports.
Okay, so, name, I have a blur, and so I completed all the documentation for the auditors, finished off the 2022 year end. Prepared budget adjustments for spring and budget adjustments, special meeting. Prepared property tax bylaw for council approval, processed and mailed out all property tax assessments. I also volunteered at the Gord Bamford concert. I also met with the churches. I think that was. So the financial information on May 31st, outstanding utilities, 79,751.85, of which 5,507 shut off. Outstanding taxes, now this number is very high.
You just got, yeah, there.
So 1,832,349.46, of which 53,338 is up for tax recovery and 79,744 is from the 2022 tax notices. The bank balances, the operating account, as this is as of May 31st, this is no longer, yeah, so that was 933.21, savings account 1.3 million, and the line of credit was at 102,000. It is now completely paid off, and we are doing way better. So, it's paid off.
Yeah, now that tax money's came in.
And as soon as we get the, audit and financial statements to the county.
Yeah, I did send those, last week. I sent those to the auditors, and they just said with their time schedule, probably be the end of the month before I would get them back. I talked to Dean today, and, he said that they will go to council, probably won't get our money for 21, 22 until the end of July now. But he does have the FCSS and the rec budget. He said he will forward the FCSS money, and the rec, he just had a couple questions, which I answered, and then, so I think that, just like, they always get a pass in June, so I'm pretty sure that's probably. I just didn't hear back from him today after I replied to his email, but.
Questions? Any questions to look at?
And then the variance report,
Oh, sorry.
was attached, so I don't know if you guys have any questions on that. But basically, expenses are at, 32.5%, and we're 40 something percent through, so we're doing okay.
That's the big stuff.
They like to give me hard here all the time. Where, God, I don't.
Questions, anything? All right, motion to accept the CFO reports. Is all in favor? So before we adjourn, if there's anybody at the back, Ivor or Irene, you guys got any questions? Is it all good? Yes, Irene, go ahead.
Yes, green tree now. I don't know how many people have asked me what happened to it. Because nothing that I know of was advertised that it was starting on Friday, last Friday.
Yeah, it was in the paper every week before, and then we had two great big, I can't remember which size they were huge, they were walk-in from the back, and then we had it, the gates were open. Folks were putting stuff in quite a bit, and we actually didn't have the rubble that we had last year. We had a great experiment with the clippings pile, but it was great, but it went overboard. So the only thing this year we had about 2 washing machines and a dryer for appliances, which is fine. We threw them in the bin, and there were some bed mattresses that they couldn't throw in. But yeah, people were using it. One of the things that in the interest of saving money, one of the things that we did is we cut everything off at 4:30 on Monday, but we didn't realize that they came and got the bins at 3 o'clock. So next year we're going to hold the bins over one more day, but we'll just lock the gate. So we lost an hour and a half this year, but we'll hold the bins over next year because we can't guarantee when they're coming. They can pick them up the next day if they're leisure and everything. So those folks that tried to put it in the bins and couldn't because the bins were gone, we've said that come to the office and give them the confirmation.
What time do they arrive on Friday?
Not too loud, but everything I can't see.
No, we put it in the paper and it was on our website too. So and we had a lot of people asking for it, which is awesome. And we were able to spread a lot of word of mouth with it too. And Jessica did a good job with that. So we just mucked up a little bit on the bins being taken away. We thought they were coming at 4:30. They came early. So, but the sign worked. We had a new sign there this year on the fence, and it works. So we'll put them there again next year. It's a great idea. Folks can walk right in the back of the bins. The big heavy doors are open, and it was easy to try to throw things over the top. So, but we. I think he was. As a matter of fact, I didn't get there to check, but I'm not. He does. Yeah, we give Adam. We just do.
Tracy, go ahead.
I'm just curious, what time does the bins arrive on Friday?
I don't know about council. I can find that.
Was there in the afternoon, second, and dropped off?
Sometimes with the Mercy when they drop them off too, right? So I can check that for you.
We'll still have the grass cutting ones and that.
That stays the same. We do have an issue though, the folks from Pigeon Lake are dropping off all the trees, so we've got to deal with that.
Oh, really?
So the trees aren't so easy to get rid of when they're dropping off.
I see somebody couldn't wait, there was a purple toilet there.
Well, they dropped up Cindy likes purple, so she's gonna take it.
Color mixers again, you can get all those old vintage colors again.
I saw that sticking out there.
I grew up with a pink stuff.
Yeah, go ahead,
Sure, is why I think.
I did too.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'd like to compliment the maintenance guy, he's done a great job, but people believe about that corner, on 47th Avenue and by the maintenance, between the maintenance and the, I mean, I'm cutting across. It's always a problem, but this year it just seems to be terrible. Yeah, the concrete, the ends like this, that drops off. And rec center.
Yeah, right where is that right where the sign is by the library, between the rec center and the,
Community hall and
yeah.
maintenance.
and the library corner, right in there. Yeah,
Public Works,
yeah.
like where the water fillers, and then the community
Oh,
hall,
okay.
that key intersection there, I think.
Gotcha, yeah, I think that's right.
That's what you're referring to, like behind the community hall?
I'm cutting through the community hall lot.
Trying to avoid the bump.
Across.
Okay, oh, I see what you mean now,
Yeah.
right side, but we'll take a look at it.
Yeah, that's where it is.
I think I ran through the town twice a week, so I usually drive over every bump and cranny and stuff, so, I'll take a look at that and then, I'll talk to him.
You guys aren't putting any more of that stuff on the streets again, are you?
No, we put enough last year, sir, that you don't have to worry this year.
Yeah, good.
And we won't use those contractors ever again, I can trust that we won't. You're good.
All right, anything else? Yeah, I think, I'll ask for adjournment, then we'll take maybe a 10-minute break, and then we'll get right into the special. Is that okay with you? Okay, so we'll kind of get a motion for adjournment.
So the audience would be all right.
All in favor? Okay, we'll take 10 minutes, and we'll come back, and we'll do this, special audit.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went over them,
Yeah, it's not in camera.